and welcome to this week's edition of the CEO Show. Fintech consultancies look into the lives of the CEOs during the COVID curfew and to just examine how people dealt with such a horrific situation that basically impacted the entire world. I have with me today the pleasure of speaking with one of the executive directors of DSI Samson Sons Private Limited, Mrs. Kaushalya Perera. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning, ma'am. Appreciate your time.
I really like having me.
So I know that your situation when the pandemic hit was just slightly different to anyone else in Sri Lanka. Explain to us what happened. I know you went overseas. Tell us a little bit about your story from March onwards.
Okay. On the 5th of March, I went to Australia for a holiday. I was supposed to come back on the 1st of April. It was a long-awaited holiday. I think it was almost 1.5 years after my last visit. So I went there. I traveled. My family's there, so I was traveling with them. And halfway through our holiday, things were not working out that well in the world. So after 3 weeks, we came back to Melbourne. That's where I was staying with my son. Then suddenly the airport is closed. And there was curfew in Sri Lanka, so we had to close the office also. But I kept in touch with the office because it was so sudden and unexpected that we need to decide on what measures we had to take. One is to look after the business, and we need to look after our own staff. So luckily, we had this connection going, and we were digitally connected. Actually, we moved it on to this before the COVID. Prior to my coming to Australia, we were working with Fintech actually, and then we started actually doing the Google meetings, then getting people connected, slowly we did a lot of trials so that our team was also used to it. This was not something new, although we didn't most of the time we still had the face-to-face meetings. So when this happened, it was actually, to tell you the truth, a blessing that we had moved on to it prior to the COVID-19 situation. Otherwise, I don't know how I, as a director, how I would connect with the team.
Of course.
Because in a crisis time, being connected, taking all the decisions, hard, difficult decisions together is very important. So we were lucky in that way that we had this connection and it was all tested. So that we moved, as smoothly as possible from a face-to-face normal situation to a new normal with the COVID-19.
That's wonderful. In hindsight, I'm sure the IT department was patted on the back for encouraging the move to digitize the entire company. I'm sure they would have got a small bonus even for ensuring that the company...
My MD is also, his background is also IT.
Right.
He initiated this move, never knowing that this would come so much of, it would be so much of use to us.
Yeah,
that's right. But we knew that we needed to move on to this digital age. And we actually, it was very, very smooth. We were not very sure because we had to move. Even the emails, everything moved from normal to the Google setup, then how the people are used to doing Excel, how people would cope with it. But then they had a very good training system, the Fintech team. So they kept on being all the teams were we first collected a set of people who were a little bit more tech savvy and who would always want to learn new things. So they were the initial key group. Then after that, one by one, because then they could train the others also. So in 20s, 30s groups, all the key people, entire office was trained.
Fantastic.
Then even the field staff, the showroom managers, the sales reps, all of them were trained. So we got it and I'm so happy to say that we thought that this might be some people, you always know, some people don't want to change. But we were really happy to see that most people were happy to do this. And they picked it up, I think, better than what we expected. Moving from one to another, it went on quite smoothly, and I have to thank the trainers also at Fintech. Those boys
Right.
and girls were really
We do
so,
have a solid team.
yeah, young people,
They
they
know
were
what they're
very
doing.
friendly, like, yes, they understood that some people will struggle. So they did a really great job.
Oh, that's good to hear. Good to know. I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll be really delighted to hear your appreciation of their services. Now, tell me this: with you being in Melbourne, I'm sure you know your son is in Melbourne, isn't that right?
Yeah.
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 So, being around family, how was it to merge the home and work situation? Obviously, being a director, there was a huge weight on your plate. But did you find it easy to work from the home situation? Was it difficult to find a divide?
It was, in a way, it was easy. In a way, it was difficult. One was that timing difference. So
Right.
I started
Time
my
zone.
work around 12:31 with office because we started the first meeting at 8:30, and I've told them luckily like try to fit me in like between till about 3:30, so
Right.
that by 8:39 I finish my work.
Right.
But when I get up in the morning, because the last few emails I miss, so I get up in the morning and after breakfast, I would work for a couple of hours before we start work with Sri Lanka.
Right.
And then I work continuously. So one thing is that sometimes I used to work in my bedroom because the others would sit in the sitting room, watch TV or talk with us. So because I didn't want to get disturbed.
So
So, and sometimes I would work in another room. So that was a bit of a challenge. But I think the biggest challenge was the timing, because I sort of my lunch and dinner got like a little. I would
yes,
keep a
I
lunch
can
break, but I will
imagine.
miss that. Then I will eat a little later, like that. Routine was slightly different, but it was not. But other than that, I thought it wasn't difficult. And one other thing that I felt is, I don't know whether other people felt it, because I sometimes we're at a meeting, so there are 10, 12 people, we're all connected. And when I'm working on this, I feel something like an outside and see like a better perspective of it. It's almost as if I'm looking at it from as an outsider's perspective, because I'm not there sitting with all of
Right.
them.
Right.
So I don't see everybody at once. So I get a better perspective. Maybe even my listening skills, or I don't know, but I felt that sometimes I got a better understanding of or a better perspective of the problem. So
Right.
that was something plus. Maybe
Interesting.
others also, if somebody works like that. So
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
plus, I would say.
Right. So, is it something you would encourage? I mean, I'm hearing a lot from people like yourselves who have to make these decisions, regarding companies. Is it something that you might actually suggest in terms of working remotely, that it's more productive for people? Would it not spending as much time on the roads? Just because they can tend to home affairs as well, they feel a lot more relaxed and maybe their mind space is better. Is it something you might actually encourage
And
moving
that's what I was
forward?
trying to tell you, that mind space is better.
Hmm.
You like, actually you said that right thing. I would encourage. Only thing is, what I would feel is that you need to have some space for yourself. If you have the environment in your home where you can work undisturbed,
Right.
uh,
Right.
and as you said, so you could attend to some of your also, but that environment, and I think if you have a little bit of discipline, so that I would always like get ready for my meetings rather than just like I mean, if people try to work in their pajamas or whatever, I don't think it'll work. But if you really like get yourself, you get ready and you sit in a quiet place and work, I think this will work. And I feel that I'm more productive
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm not disturbed at office. You get disturbed so much.
You-
So
you-
I think, I mean, if you get used to this will work fine.
yeah. That seems to be the common
But
line
being
of
a Sri
thought.
Lankan, we have this tendency that we like to see people. Yeah. And one other thing is like, some meetings we would do video, others we would do audio. I think if we can do a video meeting, then of course you see the other person. So then you get this connection better. So in that case, I think with time we'll get used to doing this. And like in office also, what we've decided is, since times are difficult, the sales are not happening as what it was planned, so we need to cut a little bit of costs also. So we are planning our meetings most of our meetings will be done digitally, because otherwise we, as you know, we have 200 plus showrooms. So all the managers coming is a big cost. One is transport, and sometimes if they're coming from far off, they have to come the day prior to the meeting and then go back the next day. You lose a lot of time on the road commuting. So in a way, it's more productive because we don't get them here. So we save, one is we saved on time. Other one is that you only that specific time period is slotted on for your meeting.
Right.
So you save a lot as per your commuting time as well as the time you spent on the meeting. So that's what we have decided as a company.
Excellent.
That for the sales staff, we have all in the sales, like we have a lot of people, 200 plus managers and TEs. So we will have only 2 meetings this year for all of them together,
right,
face to face. Rest of the meetings and all other meetings for this year definitely will be digital.
That's a great move, I think.
And just one thing I would like to mention is when this happened, before the new year, we called all the show. We got, I mean, when I said call it digitally, we got all of them together, and a chairman, MD, myself, we all were able to talk to them and explain the situation and what we were, that we were thinking of them, that I mean, we care so much about the safety of them, then their families, as well as how to get the business going.
Right.
So we were able to talk to all of them.
Right.
They were all in their homes.
Wonderful.
Just curfew on, but still we were all connected. Otherwise, what all we could have done is send a letter. I'm sure a written one and a verbal, I mean, there's no comparison. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds
we were one of the lucky ones, I would say, who had moved on to this, not knowing this will happen. Yeah.
Incredible. I think it sounds like you have a very healthy work culture that has been enhanced and embraced because you decided to go digital, to digitize the entire company. It sounds like your existing work culture was enforced even more, which is wonderful. Good to hear. So good to hear. Tell me, you've spoken so wonderfully about the positives. Can you think of any one negative in terms of digitization? I personally can't, but would there be anything that you would say, oh, it's a shame this is the case, or moving forward, if we have God forbid, a second hit, a second wave of COVID-19 or some other strain, is there something that you would like to see happen differently? Anything at all that has crossed your mind over the last few months?
Not actually. I mean, because hopefully nothing will happen, but we are getting, if in case something happens, I think we are better prepared, because the first time it was something really new. So it took us a little bit of time for people to, having a meeting, not keeping each other, like seeing each other face to face. But now we're used to it. So I think for the next one, I mean, even that small time we lost just getting sort of geared to this, we will cope much better.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Well, congratulations to everyone.
We would have these face-to-face meetings, but other than that, I think going forward, that's where, I mean, that's how things are going to be.
Right.
I couldn't really, I mean, it's difficult or something negative. Yeah,
well, that's wonderful. That's a good thing. So, Mrs. Perera, I have to say thank you so much. Obviously, your reception is a little bit difficult. You just got back to the country yesterday, and so you're in quarantine at one of the hotels. So that's why the reception isn't that great. But
we've been able to not only, get some training. Yeah.
I think we have a very bad delay there. Can you hear me okay now? Hello?
I miss your voice. Yes, I cannot hear you sometimes.
Yeah. So, Ms. Perera, if you would be happy to talk to us at another time when you're closer to Colombo, maybe. But thank you so much for your time. I really, truly appreciate it. And congratulations to your entire company
Yeah.
for maneuvering
Now
things
I
so
can. Now I
smoothly.
can.
Okay, okay. We'll definitely catch up very soon, and I think just to see how things
Yeah,
have progressed, if
I
that's
can hear you,
okay with you.
Nilanga.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. Good luck to you.